Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshiniം Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിനീം Amba Tvamanusanridhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini Namostute Vyasa Vishal Buddhe Hullar Vindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Tela Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapane Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gita Amrita Duhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopala Nandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gita Amritam Mahat Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so today I want to look at a little portion from the 5th chapter. Now, I am sure you would have heard in the past that the first 6 chapters deal with Karma Yoga. The second 6 chapters from 7 to 12 deal with Bhakti Yoga. And the last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita deal with Jnana Yoga. And also, the first 6 chapters, it is said, deal with in the Tattvamasi Mahavakya, deal with the Tvampada, the second 6 chapters with Tatpada, that, and the last 6 chapters with Asi Pada of Tattvamasi Mahavakya. So these are some little divisions that you would have heard in the past. So now we are dealing with the first 6 chapters, which is Karma Yoga. And at a very ordinary level, we are trying to say that Karma Yoga is really Seva. And in Seva, what exactly are the requirements? What exactly we are supposed to imbibe in our own self to make our actions Seva? So just to back up a little bit there and make things clearer, please remember that we are doing actions every day, all our life. In any case, we go on doing so many various types of actions. So in the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita, those actions can bind us or those actions can free us. This is what we have to think. And usually all of humanity goes on doing action that bind, because all of humanity go on acting selfishly. So the science which is given in Bhagavad Gita, and I told on previous day that this is to be found only in Bhagavad Gita. This you will not find anywhere else. There is no science of karma in any scriptures of the world. The science is to be found in Bhagavad Gita and in the Upanishads, of course. And this is how to do actions, which in any case we are engaged in all day, how to do those actions so that instead of binding us, like all of humanity, it frees us. And what exactly is the meaning of binding and free? It means those actions can be used as a means for mukti, or those actions which we are engaged in can be used as a means for coming back into this world and having repeated birth and death. countless births and deaths. So that is the meaning of bondage. Coming back here and repeating life after life, the same thing. That is called bondage. And of course, it is associated with sorrow. So nobody wants to uh, have sorrow. No jiva likes sorrow, you see. So that is why it is called bondage. Repeated birth and death and the associated sorrow with those births and death. And if the actions are done with the right spirit, with the right understanding, with the right bhav and all of that, the right attitude, then that action frees us from this repeated birth and death. And if it is done with the wrong attitude, attitude of selfishness, with me and mine and all of that, then it binds me to this cycle of birth and death and sorrow. Okay, so this is the whole science, which is given in a nutshell. Now, as I said, these first 6 chapters deal with this topic. And we have been seeing verses from chapter 3 and chapter 4. Today, I want to see some verses from chapter 5. And of course, Bhagwan is going to teach the same thing, but he adds or puts some additional information which is required in our performance of our karma. So if you have your Bhagavad Gita, I'll tell you those numbers. It is in the 5th chapter, and we can perhaps see from verse number 6. Let us see from this verse number 6 of 5th chapter. Now, I'll chant and see if you can chant along also. Sanyasastu mahabaho, sanyasastu mahabaho, dukkhamaptumayo gataha, dukkhamaptumayo gataha, yoga yukto munir brahma, yoga yukto munir brahma, nachirena adhigacchati. Okay. So Bhagavan is saying, Sanyasastu, O Mahabaho, Sanyasastu, for the renunciation of action. What exactly is the renunciation of action? Renunciation of action means finally, in the end, giving up karitritva bhava, giving up the feeling that I am the doer. So for this, he says, dukkhamaptumayogataha. It is very difficult if I do not engage myself in action. So this is what we were telling on the first day, that I cannot be lazy and I have to do my duty, whatever is assigned to me. So I cannot do like Arjuna now and say, okay, I want to leave this battlefield and go and sit somewhere. No, each person has to do his duty. He has to do what is assigned to him. So the first requirement is I have to do my work. Then yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena adhigacchati. So this person engage in this yoga of karma, means karma yoga, doing it with the right attitude and all, quickly reaches Brahman, quickly reaches the state of enlightenment. Now, the footnote has to be put inside all of this. And what is that? Please remember that just by karma alone, the person does not gain mukti. The karma makes the mind conducive to knowledge. It makes it pure and ready for knowledge. Okay. So this is verse number 6. Then here are the requirements or the things which should be accompanying our karma. Now, let me back up a little bit and tell you, this verse number 6 is very important because, verse number 7 is very important because of this reason. Many a time in our sadhana and in our spiritual efforts and in our pursuit, we feel that I can do my sadhana in one department and it doesn't matter in the other department. Now, let me tell you what that means. See, Puja Gurudev used to use a very wonderful phrase to describe Sanatan Dharma. He used to say, Sanatan Dharma is not a Sunday religion. And what he meant, one of the things, of course, which he meant by this is you cannot just go to the church or the mandir or mosque or whatever it is on a Sunday and worship God and be nice and be good and all of that. And then the rest of the week, you go on doing all things that are not good, all things that are not prescribed by scriptures and all that kind of thing. And then you go back the next Sunday and again, you be good for one Sunday and that kind of thing. This is not real spirituality. It means that if I'm going to be a spiritual person, I will have to be spiritual every day of my life. Well, it is the same principle that applies in karma yoga. So let us say that I'm doing my duty. I go to work every day, or I'm at home working or wherever. I'm doing that thing, and I am trying very hard to offer whatever I'm doing to Krishna. So I say, Prabhu, I'm doing this thing for you, right? So this is the basic and fundamental requirement that I'm doing it in a spirit of dedication to Bhagwan Shri Krishna. So I'm fulfilling that requirement. But that does not mean to say that I allow my senses. You see, this is the dedication part. But I have to buttress this dedication part with all the sadhanas in other departments of my life. For example, I cannot just let my senses run wild and I go on indulging in all the worldly things. Though every day I'm doing my work and I'm saying I'm doing it for Bhagwan Shri Krishna, I'm doing it for the world, I'm doing it for humanity and all that, whatever we say, right? I have to, at the same time, take care of all the other things in my life. For example, my wasting time and procrastinating and all such things. I have to make sure that I don't do this thing. And then I let my senses run wild and I indulge in all worldly things, eating and drinking and, indulging in all. So I cannot do those things. I have to make sure that the other things in my life assist and help and aid the dedication of my karma to Bhagwan. In other words, I need to make a rounded personality. It is just like, when in university, when we are doing, like, for example, you are in the humanities um, department, social sciences. Now, you will see that the universities, well, I don't know if it's still done, but in our time, this is what they did. I had to take at least one course in the natural sciences. So I had to study plants and people and all that kind of thing. So now I'm in social sciences and I'm studying philosophy, but they make that person take some courses in the other department also, so that this person gets a well-rounded education, or he's cognizant of what goes on in other departments. And because we live in a world, I'm not living in a world where I am shielded from the rest of the world. I'm exposed to the whole world. So a rounded education is what is required there. So in the same way, here also, if I am engaged in karma yoga and I am doing my duty every day and I'm trying to tell Prabhu, I'm offering all of this to you. But I'm trying to do that. It will not suffice just to do that. I have to go on now taking care of all the other departments of my life. For example, the senses have to be controlled, the mind has to be controlled, then my interaction with other human beings around me, all such things, you see. So now, from number 7, this type of idea is given, a very important thing. I'll chant this number 7 now. Please try to see if you can follow along. So, Yoga yukto vishuddhatma Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha vijitatma jitendriyaha sarvabhutatma bhutatma sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate kurvannapi na lipyate. So yoga yuktaha means now I'm engaged in karma yoga. Engage in this karma yoga. And what is the karma yoga for? The karma yoga is for purification of mind. Please remember that. So Vishuddhatma, through this karma yoga, I go on purifying my mind. Through karma yoga, through dedicated action, I go on purifying my mind. But Bhagavan says now in the next word, at the same time, Vijitatma. Vijita Atma means I should have control or mastery over all my limbs, all my body, in the whole apparatus. So while I am engaged in doing my duties, I should make sure that this body is not, see, control over the body means this body does not find itself, for example, in kusang. This body finds itself in satsang. Otherwise, I do my duty. Let me just give some gross examples so you know what is being told by Bhagavan. I do my duty, means I get up in the day and I go to work and I say, I do my little puja in the morning or whatever, and I go to work and I say, Prabhu, I'm doing this for you, for humanity, for the world, and all of that. Okay, TA. Then, after your work now, this body finds itself in a pub down the road with all the friends, having a great time and drinking and eating everything. Now, see, that type of behavior and lifestyle and all of that is not conducive to becoming adept in really dedicating my actions to Bhagwan. So what I will be doing is I will just be saying, Prabhu, I dedicate my actions to you, but it will just be words. Inside, there will be no deep feeling that I am really dedicating my actions to you. I will just say it, only lip service I will do. In words, I will say, and then I will really not be really dedicating my actions to Bhagwan. What is required is real control over the body. Vijitatma and Jitendriyaha. Jitendriyaha means one who has conquered all of these senses. So my senses should not be engaged all the time in just indulging themselves, eating, drinking, and I'm going to like the eyes going, and today the eyes, people use the eyes for all sorts of things, all bad things also, and on um, especially on the internet, whole day I'm going on indulging in all the things that are there. So now I have not really controlled all of my senses. I have not controlled this body. I don't find myself in the right places, but yet I'm trying to say, Prabhu, I dedicate all of these actions to you. That type of dedication becomes just lip service. One should feel at the moment when one is doing that, I'm doing this work for humanity, doing this work for the world, doing this work for the Lord, you see. And for that, I require taking all parts of my personality, all faculties, my senses and my body and my mind and everything, and really applying it to the spiritual path. So what we are saying then is we cannot have two personalities. We have to have one personality, an integrated personality, then the dedication can be done properly. If we have two personalities, then whatever is done by one part of the personality is undone by the other part of the personality. And then what happened? I get nowhere. So these type of lines in Bhagavad Gita, they are very, very important because Bhagwan is trying to make one integrated personality. This should be the word in Karma Yoga, therefore. what this type of verse is telling, if that personality is not integrated, then really I cannot dedicate my actions properly, or I cannot be successful in karma yoga. I cannot be successful in seva. Just to give some more gross examples, again, you just think. So let us say I come to the ashram. I see some value in coming to the ashram and doing some seva. Okay. So I come to the ashram and I'm doing some seva, and I'm saying, I'm doing this seva for the world, I'm doing this seva for Bhagwan, and I've dedicated 1 hour every evening. I'll come and do that. So I come there, and then while I'm doing, at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, see, I'm doing seva, and I came with the right attitude also. I'm coming to do it for the world, for humanity, for others, for Ishvara, for Krishna, whatever we say. Then while I'm doing, I'm looking to see and make sure that people notice that I am doing. Everybody knows that I'm doing. And I also tell others, now see, I'm not controlling my speech. These are the other faculties. No? Then I'm not controlling my mind, because I'm looking for some return in subtle ways. I'm looking for some return that this person sees, and that person saw me, and the other person, and they know. And so Amini knows that I'm doing it every day. So somebody knows. And other thing, some people also look for some praise. See, I did it for a whole year, and at the end of the year, when they were giving vote of thanks, they did not thank me. Now see, these are the other thoughts which are there behind the mind. So on the one hand, I come with the bhav, okay, I'm going to do this 1 hour of seva every day at the ashram, and I'm dedicating it to Ishvara, I'm dedicating it to the world, to humanity. So this is on the one hand. On the other hand, I'm looking now for some commendation, for some praise, for some recognition, something on the other hand. So the mind has this one noble thought of dedication of action to the world and to Ishvara. And the mind also now has a second thought that I want this recognition, and I want this commendation, and I want this praise, and all of that thing. And I hope somebody saw me. And then I go on telling others also that I did this seva, or I do seva every day. So these are two contradictory thoughts in the mind. So what is going to bring nobility to the mind in the first thought is being undone by the second thought. So therefore, Bhagavan is telling, I have to have an integrated mind, not a mind that is pulling this way on the one hand and a mind that is pulling the other way on the other hand. How very important all these very subtle matters and teachings of Bhagavan is. It is very, very important that we study these things. We don't want to do and undo. If you walk 1 footstep forward and then you walk 1 footstep backward, then where are we going to get? We're not going to get anywhere, isn't it? So these type of verses remind us of this very, very important requirement. Sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvan napi nalipyate. This person who really follows this, who follows what we are telling now, this person comes eventually to get a purified mind. Then with that purified mind, the knowledge which is taught in the scriptures, what knowledge? Ekam eva dvitiyam, that all is one, and I am one with all beings. He comes to discover this later on. And if he doesn't practice with this integrated mind, then he doesn't discover this. But when he does practice with integrated mind, he discovers his oneness with all things, that all beings are in me and I am in all beings. And when he discovers that, he says, Kurvan api nalipyate. That person, such a person, even though he goes on doing in the world, the karmas never ever bind him. Like Bhagavan Shankaracharya doing, Puja Gurudev doing, you see, all the great Mahatmas who we know, all of them doing, no karma binds. So they are not bound by any karma to come back in this world to reap any result. This is the idea. And this happens after a long time. We don't think that you will become perfection. You will perfect karma yoga in a day. But of course, I have to be aware of all the requirements of this karma yoga. I have to be aware of all the requirements of seva. Karma yoga and seva I'm using synonymously. So Bhagavan says, integrate this personality. Don't, on the one hand, attempt to engage in karma yoga and do dedicated action. And on the other hand, let all the senses and the mind and everything run wild into all sorts of worldly things and all that. You two have to work in unison. This is the idea. And in a very famous couplet in number 8 and number 9, he tells, I will chant. This is for those people who engage in Bhagavad Gita chanting. It is said that if we can chant these 2 verses properly, then really we have passed the test of chanting Bhagavad Gita, because the words are something is said in Sanskrit grammar. They're given in present participles, and they're very difficult to say. Now see here. Neva kinchit karomiti, neva kinchit karomiti, yukto manyeta tattvavit, yukto manyeta tattvavit, pashyan shrinvan sprishan jighran, pashyan shrinvan sprishan jighran, ashnan gachan swapan swasan, ashnan gachan swapan swasan, pralapan visrijan grihnan, pralapan visrijan grihnan, unmishan nimishan napi, unmishan nimishan napi, indriyani indriyartheshu, indriyani indriyartheshu, vartanta iti dharayan, vartanta iti dharayan. He said, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tatvavit. So this is speaking about the person who has reached the zenith of enlightenment through karma yoga, because remember, we are still in chapter 5. This is in the first section. So what he has done his karma well, as prescribed in the previous verse, where he has integrated his personality. He doesn't have 2 personalities, he has 1 personality, which is engaged in karma yoga. So that person coming to purify his mind through karma yoga, and also acquiring knowledge and seeing himself in all beings and all beings in himself and all that, such a person says, he understands, na eva kinchit karomiti, I do not do anything. Now see, I told on one of the previous days that where we start and where we end, there are 2 different things. Is we start by thinking, yes, I am a doer. I do. And at our ordinary level, all of us feel that we are doer. You may think that you are not a doer, but may think how, because the scripture says, Prakriti is the doer. Take it. That is true. But what is the truth and what I feel at this moment, they are 2 different things. You see, I am not a doer, Prakriti is the doer. That is truth, which is given in scriptures. But the truth is one thing, but what my feeling is another thing. It is like, the truth is there is only a rope there, but what I am seeing is a snake. No. Until I understand that there is only a rope there, I will be scared and I will run away and all of that. That is natural. So in the same way, until I understand that Prakriti is the doer, I go on thinking that I am the doer. So it is in this state of understanding that karma yoga is applicable. Where as long as I think I am the doer, Bhagavan is telling now, okay, take it. You are the doer. Now what you do? continue thinking that you are the doer, but just do your actions and dedicate it to me. You see, whatever you are doing, do it and dedicate it to me. It is only after you have done that well, then you will be able to purify your mind. Of course, with all the other ancillary things, you will purify our mind and will acquire knowledge. And then we'll come to realize what is being told in this verse. What is that? Na eva kinchit kinchit karomi ti. That really I do nothing. See, with that knowledge, I'll come to understand that Prakriti is doing. Prakriti is Bhagwan's Shakti only. So Prakriti is doing. So the end product or the goal is being described in this number 8 and 9. Yuktaha manyeta tattvavit. So who is being spoken about here? Tattvavit, the one who knows the truth. So suddenly I should not pretend to be any great Mahatma or something, that I know the truth. No. I am not doing anything. Ishvara is doing everything. You see, this type of parroting of scriptures without actually being in that state, that is not good. So I just be an ordinary person, down to earth. Here I am a doer, but now I'm going to do for Ishvara. And the rest of the 2 lines or the 2 verses tell about all the various things that I am engaged in all day. For the one who has acquired purity of mind, then through karma yoga, then he has acquired knowledge after the purity of mind, and he has come to realize the reality and all of that. He thinks Pashyan while seeing, Shrinvan while hearing, Sprishan while touching, Jigran while smelling, and all the various types of ashnan, eating, and all the various types of activities, they're all listed here. That time, he is really not doing what he understands. It is given earlier in the previous chapter. Guna guneshu vartante. That it is just the gunas that are working with each other and interacting with each other, and things are happening. And I am just the one who is the sakshi or the witness, and the one who is providing all of the wherewithal or strength for the gunas to do what they do. But I am not the doer. It is like the sunlight. I am like the sunlight that is providing the energy for the lotus to open. But the sunlight doesn't have any doership. Oh, I made the lotus open. It is just that the presence of sunlight, in the presence of sunlight, lotus opens. So eventually, this sadhaka will come to realize, oh, I am not a doer. I am just pure consciousness. And it is the Prakriti which is the doer. It means he'll give up doership. And this doership is called as kartritva bhav. Kartritva bhav. That I am a karta, a doer. This is where we are right now. And it is like, we use the present state to come out of the state. Like you use a thorn to take out another thorn that is stuck in your finger. So we have to use where we are right now only to come out from where we are, because we don't have any other thing to use, you see. Now, in number 10, Bhagavan again reiterates this whole spirit of dedication. Now see, I'll tell you what technique he uses throughout the Bhagavad Gita like this. He tells what we should do at our ordinary level, and as he's telling that, he points out the goal. The goal is to become tattvavit, to know the truth, to know the reality, and to know that I am not a doer. That is the goal, because right now I feel I am a doer. So he keeps telling what we should do, and he keeps pointing out the goal so that we don't lose sight of the goal. But then again, he goes back to our ordinary level. And this is what he does now in number 10. I will chant and we'll see. Brahmanyadhaya karmani. Brahmanyadhaya karmani. Sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. Sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. Lipyate na sapapena. Lipyate na sapapena. Padmapatramivambhasa. Padmapatramivambhasa. The person Brahmanyadhaya karmani, who dedicates all of his actions to Brahman. Now see, previously Bhagavan was using me. Now I dedicate all my actions to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And now he says Brahmani adhaya karmani, means I dedicate all my actions to Brahman. So do not think that these two are different. Huh? You see, some people in the world, let me just back up and tell you. We have different types of individuals who think differently and all. So the Shastras actually cater to all such people. The Shastras have different ways of expressing the same thing because we have different type of people who think differently. So there's one type of person who is very much intent on and attracted to the Sakar Rupa of Bhagavan, the form like Krishna, or the form of Ganesh, or the form of Ram, like that, right? There are many people who are very much attached to the form. So such a person will have to say, I dedicate my action to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, thinking about the form. But there are many people in the world to whom the form is not so important. There are many people who think more abstractly and all. You see? There are people who think abstractly. So, like for example, whatever I'm doing for humanity. Now, humanity doesn't have a form. I mean, you cannot say point to one thing and say this is humanity, you see? So this person thinks a little bit differently. And then this other person, he may say, I'm doing for the absolute, I'm doing for the reality. So this word is being used here, Brahman. So it doesn't matter. The scripture is just catering to different types of people who think differently and all. And in this case, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, doing the one who does the karma and offers it to Brahman. Now, Brahman is formless. It is nirakar, without form and all that, right? So this is catering to other type of people. But if you're not capable of this, or you don't like this, that is absolutely fine. The one who does the karma and offers it to Krishna. I offer it to Ram, like that. Huh? My Ishta Devta. So that is absolutely fine. So such a person, he says, Sangam Tyaktva Karoti Yaha, does his action without attachment. And see how many times from the chapter 2, where Bhagavan started his teaching about Karma Yoga. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. From there, which we saw, now this is chapter 5. So from chapter 2, where he started his teaching, still now in chapter 5, he is again going back to the same teaching, same idea, same principle. What is that? Sangam tyaktva, giving up attachment. Attachment to what? Attachment to the result. Bhagavan was telling in the second chapter that I have the right to do the action, but I don't have the right to the result. Let the result be what they are. So the same idea is being given again. I detach myself from the result. The result is going to come, but I should not. Another way of saying this, I should not let the result be the inspiration or the motive for doing the action. Like, for example, when I work all day, I get $100, let's say, right? So I'm just using this example now. When I work all day, I will get $100. So now, see how the world works. All of humanity works only because they are inspired by this $100. Means I desire the $100, and based on that desire, means I want to fulfill that desire, and so I am being pushed by the fulfillment of that desire for that $100, you see. And I see it in my mind's eye way before I get it also. Not only that, many people spend it also before they get it. So I am being pushed by that fulfillment of that desire for that $100 and what joy it will bring, and all the benefits it will bring to me. And that is what is inspiring me. That is what is pushing me. That is what is propelling me. See, now what is being taught here now? I should be propelled, I should be inspired and pushed by a great love for what I'm doing and an appreciation of the privilege to do the action so that I can be of benefit to humanity and to the world and to others. So I'm being inspired by, pushed by, propelled by something else, not by that result. That is the meaning of not being attached to the result. I'm inspired by something greater. I'm inspired by the joy and privilege that I get to serve humanity and to serve others, to serve the world, or to do something for my Krishna. Now, where is being inspired by $100 and where is being inspired by this noble ideal? You see? So to give concrete meaning to this whole idea of being detached from the result, this is the meaning. You see? We have to ask ourselves, what exactly am I being inspired by? And if I'm inspired by the $100, then I will be no different than the man. Have you seen that? I'm sure all of you would have seen that cartoon where the man is riding a donkey and he holds a stick in front of the donkey, and on that stick hangs a carrot. So the carrot is hanging just about 1 foot ahead of the donkey on a stick. And the donkey sees this carrot in front of his eyes, and the donkey walks to get the carrot. And the donkey walks all day without realizing that I cannot get this carrot. The man just hung it in front of my eye, you see. So we will be no different if we are inspired only by the $100, in my example. But the one who is inspired by a great love for his work and a privilege to be of service to Bhagwan, to be of service to humanity, he is being inspired by something greater. He's detaching himself from the result. This is the idea. Huh? So this is Sangam Tyaktva in the verse. This is verse number 10. Huh? The person who karoti saha, who does like this, such a person, lipyate nasapapena. He says, that person is not smeared by, affected by any papa, means any of the evil of this world. Such a person never gets touched by any evil of the world. And of course, in regard to what we are talking about here, he is not touched by the evil of the bondage of karma. This is what we'll have to understand it as. And he is, of course, you can expand that to mean that he is not touched by anything else in this world also. Huh? So he's not touched by any of the evil of the bondage of karma. This is the papa here. So the person who, and just to go back to the example, the person who is inspired by the $100 and he works only for that, you wouldn't believe how much a papa results. What does it mean? How much a papa result? Let me just give you an example. See, he works and he's seeing the $100 in front of him, right? So that is all he's working for. Now, after short time of working, one of two things will happen, because he's been inspired by this money only. So one of two things will happen. One is he will start thinking that this $100 is not sufficient for the amount of labor that I am expending. And therefore, he will get the same $100, but he will offer less labor. He'll cut down on his labor because he thinks this $100 cannot pay for my labor. It is too less. So he'll cut down his labor. Or the second thing now, this $100 cannot pay for my labor. I will go now and I will seek $150. That is just amount. Now, either of them, whatever he chooses, right? That will again only last for some time, because he did it for a while with the $100 without doing this. But after some time, he starts thinking one of these two things. And then let us say now he cuts his labor down. And he's getting the same $100. And instead of offering 8 hours of labor, he's offering 6 hours of labor. That also will last for some time. Again, after some time, he'll start thinking, no, this 6 hours also is too much. I will do 4 hours. You see? Or if he gets $150, he gets a raise, again, that will only last some time. So there's no end to this thing. And that is why we have so much of strife and struggle and so much of cheating and so much of people engage in PAP. Because now he came to work for 8 hours for $100. Then he cuts his labor down to 6 hours. Then he cuts it down to 4 hours, but he's still getting the same $100. And there are many, many people in the world who go on taking salary without doing anything. So it leads to papa. So this Bhagwan is saying, the person who really understands all of this and works properly, inspired by something else, he says, Lipyate nasa papena. He never gets smeared by pap. He never gets affected by any pap, you see, any evil of this world. As long as we are inspired by the wrong thing, actually, it's a general statement also. It works for general purposes as well. Any child in the school who is inspired by the wrong children, wrong values, they will always get into trouble. So what we have to do is make sure that we are inspired by the right thing in our work. And all of this flow from Bhagwan's simple words, to give up attachment to the result. He says, such a person, and he gives an example, Padma Patram Ivambasa. Padma Patram Ivambasa means, in a pond or some lake or something, I don't know if you see in this country, but in Trinidad and Guyana and all, you see so many lotuses growing, and they grow in slushy, muddy water and all that kind of thing. And even though they grow in that type of environment, what we see is such a beautiful flower emerging from that type of environment. So it means to say, I'm surrounded by all sorts of bad things in this world, of people, A cheating B and B cheating C, like the employer cheating the employees, and the employees cheating the government, and the employer also cheating the government, and everybody cheating each other and all that kind of thing. And that's Bhagwan saying, this all pap we are engaged in because we are inspired by the wrong thing, of course. And in that type of world, if I can really practice this karma yoga, I will be like the lotus in the pond, even though it is in an environment of pure slush and mud and all of that kind of thing. It turns out to be a beautiful flower. So what is required is the right attitude, right understanding, right inspiration, and all of that. And this is what this karma yoga is teaching. This is what true seva is all about. All right. So now I'm going to stop here, and then we will pick up this. Tomorrow is our last day. Saturday we will not have class because I have to go on the East End. So tomorrow will be our last class on this whole seva, bhav, and karma yoga, which is actually one and same. Please remember that. Okay. Hari Om. Om. Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Thank you,
Hari
Swamiji.
Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari
Om
Om.
Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Thank you.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Pranam Swamiji.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om. So many people.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om. Hari Om.